If you were to go back 3 years ago in Madden, the topic of today's video would have been something that a lot of pro players would have kind of rolled their eyes at you for bringing up. Now this topic is very in vogue. Players are looking at this left and right, and honestly, I see quite a bit of misinformation as to how the topic of today's video actually works to make one card feel different from another in Ultimate Team, or you could actually extrapolate this over to the regular team head-to-head by kind of looking this up on a Ultimate Team database to kind of figure out, should I play this receiver over this one on my regs team? Or in general, this could be something that you use for team building purposes as well in Ultimate Team. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to be talking about stride style and why this is suddenly something everyone talks about. And this is going to help you guys understand why that new Jaylen Hyatt that a lot of players deranked for in the most recent competitive ranked season is not as good as you would have initially thought it to be here. So when you take a look at stride styles, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of encourage you guys to maybe click onto mutt.gg or head over to the virtual lab partner database and start looking some of these things up as I talk about them here. But I'm going to bring up several items here in this video, and I'm going to help you guys understand why a card plays the way it does, or why a card feels faster or slower or better on a certain route than another item. We're going to start off with one of everybody's favorite receivers every single year in Madden Ultimate Team, and that is Randy Moss. Now, over the last couple of years, Randy Moss has been pretty well thought to be a lackluster item, for lack of a better term. Basically, he was bad the last couple of years. Now, I personally find him usable in this year's Madden, and I'm gonna explain why. And that's simply because right now, with the way that deep zones play in this game, long stride players can take the lids off of defense within reason. Now, with zone coverage right now, we know there's a bug in Madden Ultimate Team, or just in Madden in general, where if you have a deep zone too close to the line of scrimmage, it backpedals a little bit slow. This is perfect for a long stride type player. For those that don't know what long stride means, this means that basically when you are running, the distance you cover for each step is longer. Now, if you were to think about the steps required to cut on a route, maybe it's a double move or a corner or a post or a dig or even something like a whip. Now, understandably so, whips are money this year, meaning that stride doesn't matter too much on that route in particular, but it certainly matters on other routes. You might notice that Randy Moss has 87 agility. And 87 agility is neither truly top of class, but it's not a liability by any means either. What amplifies this is going to be the stride style. When you have a card that is, for instance, 6'4", it's pretty tall. A taller player model is going to feel less agile in and out of cuts than maybe a card that is 6 foot or 6'1" with 87 agility. But the other factor is, what type of stride does he have? If it's a long stride, this means that basically he's going to be really good at blow-by animations on a streak, or running a skinny post and not really slowing down as he kind of just veers to the inside a little bit. Long stride has its benefits, don't get me wrong. It's great, you know, running down the sideline in coverage as well. So if you have like a deep defender that has long stride guarding a streak, he's going to tend to keep up with another long strider on that route better than, say, a short strider would be. So there are applications for long stride being a good thing, but I think that the MCS desk, especially in that first tournament of the year, really got overblown with talking about long stride to the point that now that's what players target for their receivers and their DBs. But the truth is, when you talk about cuts on routes, you really are looking for a couple of things. You want either a short stride or a default stride, and you actually want to temper down the height. So a lot of times I see players say, all that matters in Madden is speed and height. Yeah, to a degree, they're very, very important. But one of the things that a lot of players also say is that, man, that guy turns like a tugboat. Why does Tariq Woolen feel so rough defending in man coverage despite having a good rating? I chem this up. I use a strategy item. Why does he feel so bad? Well, if agility wasn't kind of throttled based off of player model size and also stride style, the way that they run, all you would target would be speed and height. And a card that would be 6'4" with 99 agility and 99 speed is going to be way better than a card at 6 foot with the same ratings. So now you're in a situation where you're targeting, yeah, speed's great, agility's great, but you also got to pay attention to what type of stride, because it kind of amplifies. It's more of like a magnifier of the rating. 87 long strides get to feel way worse on a dig route or a corner route, whether it be the player running the route or guarding the route in man or match coverage, than a player with the same 87 agility with a short stride. So for instance, when you compare right now some of the cards in the game that are truly elite, and this is with or without the team of the week boost, what I'm about to show you, for instance, this Lad McConkey item is one of my favorite items that I've used all year long. Now, I understand that I've got all 9 team of the week players for the most recent drop, and that gets him +2 speed, but I would tell you this at 91 speed. This card right here has 89 agility base, but you know, with the team of the week, it's 91. He's a short strider and he's 6 foot tall. Now, 6 foot is, you know, it's like average height. You know, it's not a 5'8" receiver, but it's certainly not Randy Moss at 6'4". He's right there in that sweet spot. And this is why I say all the time, when you're talking about receivers, the receivers that feel the best against man coverage and match coverage are usually between 5'11" and 6'1", with good agility and either the short stride or the default stride for the running style. Because again, when you think about it, if your steps are shorter, that's going to help make you sharper out of a cut. It's going to make you feel like you accelerate out of a cut faster because you're picking up and putting them down faster out of the cut. That's what's going to make these players feel shifty out of a whip route. You might say, well, whip routes are good in general, but have you noticed that a long strider on a whip, think about all the receivers you've used all year long and which ones actually feel the best coming out of a break against man-to-man on a whip route. I'm willing to bet to you that they are probably either between 5'11" and 6'2" and default or short stride. Now, again, I use Randy Moss on whip routes and that's fine. There are money routes in the game, but I'm just here to tell you that this is something that truly matters when you guys are targeting items. Now, what I want to do is I want to go over and I want to talk about an item that players just deranked for in this game. And a lot of players are saying that they're super disappointed in this Jaylen Hyatt item. Now, the reason that everybody deranked in the most recent comp season for him is that he comes at a base 92 speed and he has all 32 NFL team chemistries, meaning that if you get a 20 out of 20 team chemistry on your card for any team that you could possibly want, he's going to be a giant and all 31 other teams at 93 speed. But you take a look at him, he's 6 foot tall. So he's in that sweet spot for the height that I was just talking about. You're saying, oh, well, you said, you know, between 5'11" and 6'1", 6'2", right? Yeah, but that's if you're short stride or your default stride. One of the things I'm seeing a lot of players say is that he's been very disappointing despite having good short route running, medium route running, and deep route running. Well, the hidden reason for that is that he's actually a long strider. And you'll notice that they throttled his agility rating to a point that I would say at this point in the season is actually really bad for a wide receiver. So you're getting a card that optically, yeah, 93 speed, good route running. This looks like a card that I should have, you know, actually lost games in the most recent competitive season for, because 93 speed is nearly top of class. But now that everybody's using him, they're seeing that his stride is long, he is short, which makes him feel sluggish on everything that isn't basically a streak or a skinny post. And then when you factor that a 6 foot receiver on a streak with the long stride, okay, let's say that you get behind a guy in coverage. He's shorter than Randy Moss at 6'4". So you're going to say, okay, well, Randy Moss is a way better item, even at 91 speed, I think is what I showed you at the beginning of the video, maybe 92. Honestly, my memory's not that good. I know it's slower than Hyatt, but he's taller. So once he gets behind him, it actually is going to benefit you to be taller in that case. So the thing that he's good at, he's not really big enough to be good at when you really truly think about it. He's basically a one route player. And if you were to say, oh, well, he could still be good on drags. Yeah, he could. And honestly, with it being a zone game, route combos are route combos. You're not facing a ton of man, but when it comes to playing man, that's why sometimes you'll be like, why is this guy getting clamped by a DB who's only 90 speed? I've got a 3 speed advantage. Well, it's because he's 6 foot tall. He really puts in a lot of exertion into his steps and he's not agile. So that means that he's worse on an in route, an out route, a post, a corner, you know, a double move, whatever it is. And there are better players to run whips with against man-to-man as well. So that's why sometimes you'll notice that he gets clamped by a player playing man-to-man on him as well. Now, this isn't just an offensive thing. So I want to go ahead and flip over to the defensive side of the ball and kind of talk about this. Now, I know while I'm switching over to the defensive side of the ball that some of you are saying, Zan, you've talked about this every single year. Yeah, I have, because this is important stuff if we're being totally honest. This stuff is way more important than saying, oh, he's 93 speed. That's the best thing that we could do here. Now, I do understand that I have a God squad because, you know, this is part of what I do for a living, and I have to, you know, have the cards to test them on stream and you know, really give you guys an idea of what's worth it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a card out there that I see a lot of people giving crap to. And to me, he's always one of the best items every single year. And this is Daryl Evans. Now, people will immediately take a look at him and they will say, oh, well, this card is way too short to be on my field. But I'm gonna tell you this right now, because he is 5'11", they gave him 85 agility on purpose. Now you're saying that agility sucks, Zan. No, it's not, because he's shorter. So again, this is a reminder. When you take a look at that Hyatt, what did they do to make him feel worse in change of direction? He's 6 foot, so it's only an inch taller, but they gave him long stride in 84 agility. That is a stark difference to a player who is shorter, has 85 agility, just a slight uptick more. But when they throttle that stride style from long down to default, all of a sudden you're going to notice that this guy is really, really good in a slot corner role, because he could play man or match. He can play a flat zone and drive on a throw in the flat because he's got those shorter strides than, say, a long strider. I see a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this giant stork slot corner like a, you know, like a Tariq Woolen in the slot because of the height to defend seam routes and things like that. But you probably notice that when you put him in man-to-man, it ends up being tougher because he can't really drive on that throw. Or let's talk about Woolen up top at safety. I see a lot of players saying, well, he's super tall, he's fast, let me put him up top at safety because that's gonna be great for those ags that people throw. Well, you probably have noticed that if you basically play him at stock position, he has trouble getting into his locomotion to drive on a throw in the seam to be able to break that up. And you're like, damn, like, did I just waste 2+ million coins on Woolen? I would say for that role, yeah, you did, compared to, for instance, other items in the game. I get laughed at every single time I bring this item up. But if you guys are looking for one of the truly stickiest players in the game every single year, look no further than the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. This is a card that I look forward to probably more than any player in our community, not only for the memes when I'm streaming, but seriously, you take a look at him, he's short. People clown on height in Madden. Oh, he's 5'9", he'll never see my field. But I'll tell you this right now, if you got a dude in the slot playing a flat that is 5'9" with good agility, it's okay, 86, but he's a short strider, and that's what Mathieu is. This card feels like the quickest thing in the open field that you could possibly imagine this game. He is one of my favorite items to utilize in a slot role. I'm not asking him to run the sideline and guard Randy Moss 40 yards down the field on a streak, because I know how that's going to end. But when it comes to nosing around in a vertical hook or a hook curl or a curl to flat zone or a hard flat and converging on that drag over the middle, the way that he can burst in short space is nearly unmatched. And then you factor in that he hits big for such a little guy. This is an item that honestly, I feel like people just overlook every single season. And today I'm going to be rocking him on stream. I'm going to be starting him in my slot corner role, and I could not be more excited that he is finally out. But that's not it completely. I mean, when we take a look at other items in the game that are really, really, really good right now, a lot of people really like this Xavier McKenna card. Now, I understand I'm showing you some cards that are in that 400K range. Don't worry, I'm going to give you guys some suggestions in terms of just players you can rock that are affordable and players that you should keep an eye on for the future when they get those high overall cards, because those cards are going to play well above their ratings. But if you take a look at this Xavier McKenna, he's another theme team for the team of the week, kind of like that McConkey, that I still could very easily see myself rocking even after that team of the week chemistry goes away and he goes back to 90 speed. He is a 6-foot corner with default stride. So again, he's not nerfed by having a long stride. He's not basically OP by giving him a short stride, but he's in that sweet spot where he's got, you know, pretty good agility. You know, you're taking a look at him and you see 90 agility, it's 88 base, but he's got that default stride. So it's neither too long, it's not, you know, so short that it makes him super twitchy like a honey badger. But if you guys have looked at him, he is sticky as hell, whether he's, you know, driving on a throw in zone, over the middle on a seam, converting from zone to match in a match style coverage. Really, really good item. Now, a card that I want to tell you about that right now is not usable because he's too slow, but EA loves to feed him items over the course of the year. This is one that I've kept an eye on this year because they changed him, I do believe, from previous years. I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure this is true, is Jaylen Ramsey. Jaylen Ramsey is 6'1", and he is a short strider. Tall short striders are the glitchiest items in the game. I'll give you another one that you guys should pay attention to. How about Jordan Poyer, that card that everyone just grinded for most recently? He's a short strider at 6 foot. Again, not super tall. How about Cam Curl? How many of you were rocking Cam Curl's most recent item, the breakout ballers, that even at 87 speed, people were saying, man, I don't know, he doesn't seem to be that fast, but he plays faster than he feels. Well, it's because of the short stride. How about Justin Reed's most recent item? Another item that is quite good. 6'1", and he's got short stride. So again, have you noticed here a trend? All of the best items in the game from a coverage perspective seem to have that short strides because there's less exertion to change direction and accelerate. How often are you truly in this game playing coverage where you're just running in a straight line? It's almost never. I mean, if you're guarding a streak, sure. But the truth is, football is not a straight line game. It's a change of direction game at all times. So this isn't just something that you should put on your corners or put on your safeties. Honestly, you should be taking a look at your linebackers as well. Now, I'm not telling you to go spend 2 million coins on this guy because that would be very, very stupid. But Fred Warner is a perfect example of a tall player at linebacker with short stride. Have you ever noticed that everyone says, man, Fred Warner is just the best coverage linebacker every single year? Well, that's because he's a short strider. This has been something for years in the game, and it's now in vogue to talk about, but you see so many players talk about long stride loose. It's almost a joking point on the MCS broadcast, and I don't say that to call out the MCS desk, but the truth is, it's not the truth. And I hope that you guys learned something from this video. This is a video that I do probably once every 3 months just to remind you guys how important this is and how, you know, the base ratings, the face value of a card is not always the entire story. And that if you guys enjoy this type of content, you should definitely check out gridirongameplans.gg. I talk about it in every single video, so I won't bend your ear any further on that. I hope you guys like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'll yak at y'all tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Get live and good luck.